Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll get notified of each new video as they come out.
Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. And today I am going to talk about the concept of, can you defend your home if SHTF? Whatever that may be. Are you equipped to be able to defend your home? And if you are, how would you do it? And the reason I'm bringing this up, I was going to call this worst survival advice ever. Because there's a group of people out there who seem to think that you can't defend your home from looters and raiders and all that kind of thing, and you have to bug out. That's just their answer. And I think that there's a whole lot of variables here, and maybe if you're in a really urban situation where you're really close to the city center and in a high population density area, then maybe that makes sense. Okay, but if you're in even suburban or a rural area, then that just really doesn't hold water, I don't think. At least not for me. I think it does make a lot of sense that you want to start your defensive efforts as far away from your home as you can. You should have concentric rings of security. You don't want to just purely stay inside of your home and try to, defend it from somebody trying to get into it or something. You would obviously want to start that security layer out. Perhaps blocking off roads in your neighborhood, like we talked about in a recent video. Maybe establish checkpoints in your neighborhood, or have different layers of barbed wire, razor wire, whatever the case may be, whatever you got, to essentially, keep people from getting closer to your house, to kind of control traffic and stuff like that. I think that was the name of that video, is like top 10 ways to control traffic if SHTF. You might want to have yardage marked, at different distances, so you know how far people are away, and barricade your driveway, especially if those more rural properties. That's a little bit more practical if you've got a real long driveway or whatever. Suburban homes, that may not make very much sense. But the idea of saying that you shouldn't bug in because it's impossible to defend your home from your doorstep, I think is kind of crazy for most people. Like I said, unless you live in the city center of a big city, because that idea is basically saying that you're leaving your home, you're trekking out into the wilderness, you're in a place where you're far more vulnerable to Mother Nature, to exposure and hypothermia, to weather, rain, cold, predators, both two-legged and four-legged. You're vulnerable to attack from 360 degrees around you. And I just don't see how that's safer. Now, don't get me wrong. If I need to bug out, or my family needs to bug out, of course we'll do so. If it's no longer safe to stay, then we would absolutely be ready to do that. But the idea that you just at the first sign of trouble that you should just leave, for most people, I just don't see how that really makes a lot of sense. I think that, like I said, it definitely largely depends on the location of your home, the layout of your home, and the more rural the property and the bigger property that you have, the more likely you are going to be able to defend it. The thing is that TV shows give people a really bad impression of the reality of what it's like to enter a home, an armed home. Because people who do that, like let's say on SWAT teams or something, when they enter a home with somebody who's armed, the SWAT team is at a massive disadvantage. And the only reason that they're successful on TV shows and all that kind of stuff, and even to some degree successful in real life, is because they're going against delusional, drugged out idiots who just don't know really. They just don't know what they're doing. But anytime that they go against a well-armed, well-trained opponent, that's bad news, and they're going to have a bad day. And it's just not a reality that that you can't set up a defensible position inside your home. I mean, you can. There are multiple things that you can do. So the first thing is that you can build sandbag, defensive fighting positions inside your home, behind the walls of your home, behind, next to windows and different areas in your home that would give you good shooting lanes and things like that. Now again, as I said, concentric rings of security. You would like to start out further, but if you had to come to a fallback position, then you would be able to do that. Now, you obviously want to be concerned with about how big you make those, how much weight you put in, and all that kind of stuff. But modern homes that are built to code are going to be able to hold a substantial amount of weight, especially when it's closer to the walls and all those kinds of things. Take for instance water beds. People used to have water beds, and that was a tremendous amount of weight, and you didn't ever hear about houses collapsing and all that kind of stuff. So you could do that in strategic locations throughout the home. You could even build like a kind of a safe area sort of thing. You can board up the windows, put gun ports in there, so that you can't get tear gas thrown in or, different things along, in that kind of nature. That's obviously going to be a lot more work, and you're talking about an extreme situation when you need to do that and all that kind of stuff. But if you had the resources already prepared, if you had the plywood already cut, different things along that line, ahead of time, it wouldn't be really that hard to do, and it could make a difference. Let's see, there are definitely also some construction types that are more bullet resistant. Brick homes, rock facades are going to offer some limited protection. Again, I said some, but true rock homes are going to offer a lot more protection. Those are actually do a pretty good job, but most homes are not built true rock homes anymore. That's a pretty old style of construction technique. Let's see. The other thing is like tri-level or quad homes usually have like half buried rooms, and these they're almost like a small pillbox, and they offer great defensibility. The windows are right at shooting height to shoot out, and there's a very pretty good position from those kinds of places. You can also do things like putting security cameras in there. These are some security cameras that I have for my place. I need to install these still. I've got some other ones installed, and I'm going to put these a couple more in. They're from Zmodo, and I will put a link to those down on Amazon below. These are really easy to install. They're wireless. You can look at them through an app on your phone, and they're pretty cool. But you can also have the zone alarms, kind of like the guard line that I did the video on. I'll also link to that below. And, it can help you watch multiple entrances, multiple areas of, where people could come in and different things like that. There's force multipliers out there that can help you to be more aware of what's going on and, all that kind of stuff in different areas. And the thing is that, nobody says you have to start defending your home from your doorstep, from your house. Obviously, you want to start, patrolling in a larger area, maybe work with your neighbors to kind of shut off the community or check who's coming and going. There's definitely things that you can do to step that security out. But if all that fails, you can still defend your home pretty well if you're prepared and if you think about what you need to do to make your home a better defensible position. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, you can't do this. They're going to burn you out." Well, that's a logic flaw right there to start off with. They're going to want what's in the house, so burning you out just doesn't make a lot of sense, because if they're starved for resources and all that kind of stuff, they're just not going to do that. The second thing is they're going to look for the weak targets first. They're going to look for the people that are not defending their homes, the people that have already died, the people that are gone, that have moved out of the area. They're going to scavenge all those places first. And the next thing is, why would you let them get close enough? I mean, standoff distance is a real thing, and if you have standoff distance, use it, because you can only chuck a Molotov cocktail so far, and I'm fairly sure that 5.56 or 308 is going to be able to reach out much further than that. So, allowing people to get close to your house with a burning bottle is probably the fatal mistake there. But anyhow, the next thing is that, the likelihood of coming up against more than 6 to 8 attackers is probably going to be pretty low. I think it's going to be pretty low anyway. And then the likelihood that you get 6 to 8 well-trained attackers is even lower. I mean, that's just, you're talking about a really rare situation where that's going to be the case. And if you have 4 to 6 people inside your house who are good shooters, who are in defensible positions, that you have communication, you've talked about this and thought about it, and done some training and different things like that, you can hold off an attacking force well more than double your size. I mean, ask anybody in the military, somebody who's holding a good defensible position, who, like I said, has thought about things, has got stuff laid out, nobody likes attacking a position like that. It's not good, and the reason is because people die when you do that. All right, so the idea that you can't defend your home from looters and raiders and all that kind of stuff, to me, seems ridiculous. And I'm coming from a mindset where I'm in a more rural area, so maybe that is influencing me more. But I've lived in neighborhoods and cities and all that kind of stuff, and I've always felt the same way, because in a neighborhood you have some additional advantages. You really have less places where people can come from, especially if you have higher fences and different things along those lines. And you only have certain areas that you have to worry about. It really cuts down the avenues of approach, to a more manageable, and reasonable amount of angles that you have to cover. So anyhow, I just wanted to throw this out there and see what you guys thought about it. Do you think you can defend your home if the SHTF? Do you think that you would be able to do that, or are you in a situation where there's no way possible, I just have to go? So I'd be interested to hear about that in the comments below. As always, guys, I definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe, guys.